Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Jonathan Vernon-Smith
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yes, now, it was the murder mystery that kept the police guessing and struck fear into the hearts of pet owners. But now Scotland Yard say the so-called Croydon cat killer, who was thought to have bludgeoned and decapitated cats across the UK, never existed. Instead, they say cats were being run over and then mutilated by urban foxes. 25 post-mortem examinations were carried out on cats, but there was absolutely no evidence, apparently, whatsoever of human involvement. During the investigation, detectives received more than 400 reports of cats being mutilated across the south of England. But now, every single case will be recorded as no crime. Why? Well, apparently, the police believe that the Croydon cat killer was a fox. Or maybe multiple foxes, but certainly not a human being. Well, I'm interested to know whether you believe this explanation. Do you believe the Croydon cat killer was a fox? Here's the telephone number for your call, 08081 008800. Tony Jenkins runs an animal rescue shelter in Croydon. He's been investigating the Croydon cat killer. Good morning to you, Tony.
Good morning.
So there you have it. Case solved. It wasn't a human being, a sick, twisted, evil human being after all. It was a fox.
Yeah, that's kind of laughable, to be honest. How can a fox put a decapitated rabbit back into a locked hutch? How can a fox take the head and tail cleanly off a cat and then display the three body parts in a triangle? If it is foxes, how come we've not had similar cases reported in Scotland, Wales, Cornwall and Devon, East Anglia, all places where there's lots of foxes and lots of cats which could be killed on the road?
So you don't believe the police's explanation? Why would they be making this up, though? Why would they have come to the wrong conclusion?
I think some of the facts that you just quoted, my understanding, and I was actually taken into the police station yesterday in Croydon, and they announced their findings. It's actually based on as little as 5 bodies that were examined by a head pathologist at the Royal Veterinary College, who apparently found evidence of fox DNA, i.e. saliva, on the bodies. That doesn't mean that the fox cut the head off. That means that a fox may have predated the body afterwards.
No, but I'm just reading here. The Scotland Yard have said 25 post-mortem examinations were carried out. There was no evidence found of human involvement. Scotland Yard said injuries inflicted on the cats were likely to be the result of scavenging by wildlife on cats killed in vehicle collisions.
Yeah, I know what it says, and quite frankly, that response to me is about as useful as a chocolate fire guard, to be honest. When you've seen some of the things that I've seen and the way in which animals have been displayed, would a fox take the head off a cat and then return it to the exact place 3 days later?
And those are the kinds of things that have happened?
Yep. Oh, yes. We had, in Adscombe Railway Park, we found a cat decapitated. 6 months later, in the exact same position in that park, we found a rabbit decapitated. We were able to identify that rabbit. That came from a locked hutch in Coulsdon, 6 miles away. Are you telling me that a fox carried that body 6 miles and placed it exactly where it had obviously left a previous victim?
So do you feel the police are letting everyone down? Do you feel as if the police ultimately are letting a very sick and twisted person get away with this?
I believe so, yes. I believe so. I mean, it may be a question of resources. There may be something else afoot. We just don't know. But we are obviously very disappointed with these findings because they are aware of clear evidence, as I've said before, of things that couldn't possibly be down to the fox, and that can only suggest human interaction.
Tony, thank you very much indeed. Tony Jenkins runs an animal rescue shelter in Croydon. Well, there are people I've heard who've said, oh, here we go again. It's so easy to blame foxes. Foxes get blamed for everything. And in fact, many people do not believe a fox or multiple foxes were responsible for all of these terrible deaths of people's pets. Denise in Hatfield. Good morning to you, Denise.
Hi, Jonathan.
Good morning. So do you believe the Croydon cat killer was a fox?
Well, I don't really, but we do get, in the spring when the baby rabbits appear, and we have a lot of rabbits in our back garden, we often find decapitated baby rabbits where their heads are have been cleanly bit off. And we've always assumed it was foxes that did that to baby rabbits. And it's a bit strange that you will just find a complete rabbit with just the head missing. But there is no explanation for that. So I've always thought that they were foxes that did that. But I have to say with cats, if my cat was to see a fox, I think he'd run a mile. So I don't understand how a fox would catch a cat, bite its head off. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I don't know. People tell me that foxes can be terribly vicious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. As I say, the only experience I've had is that I think that they're the ones that are biting heads off baby rabbits. But I don't see cats being caught so easily. You know, I mean, they're fast, and I don't think cats are inquisitive enough to go towards a fox. So for a fox to chase a cat and catch it, and all in the same area, you know, in a sort of close proximity to each other, and found in people's front gardens when their cats were like days later, as there's been reports over the years of it. I don't know. I don't understand why the police would drop it unless they were sure. But there have been vets over the period of time that have said they believe they were dismembered by humans. So why has it all changed? Or
I don't know. It's very odd, and as you say, it's so kind of conclusive. They've just said, yeah, we've solved the case. It's a fox, not human beings. Denise, thank you for your call. Barbara says, no, it's not a fox. Foxes may take roadkill or very weak, ill cats, but it's unusual to take on a healthy cat. They would normally give each other space. I also know of some that live happily with foxes. I think the police have drawn a blank with this investigation. So once again, let's blame foxes. Another weak excuse for illegal fox hunting to continue. Terry Woods is from Foxagon, a non-lethal fox management company. Good morning to you, Terry.
Morning, Jonathan.
Morning. So you know about foxes. Do you think the Croydon cat killer is indeed a fox?
No, I don't. It's simply because it allegedly covers such a vast area, remembering that foxes are territorial. So if it happened in one particular area, then I'd say a fox could be responsible. But the fact that it's happening all over the place, it would have to be a vast number of foxes, and I think that's not plausible.
But London's full of urban foxes, and they're all hungry.
Foxes are never hungry. I mean, they're hungry from meal to meal, but you don't find what you might be insinuating, starving urban foxes. They're not like their country cousins.
So do you believe then that the Croydon cat killer is a human being who, at the moment, it would appear, has got away with it, and the police are now no longer looking for that person?
Well, foxes are capable of taking cats. They will take rabbits because they're part of their natural food. A cat is a formidable opponent for a fox, and a fox knows that. Generally, they won't take on a cat. Now, there are certain times a year when a cat may threaten a fox's young, when they're very small cubs, because, as we know, many cats are also urban killers, so they'll take anything that moves. And the fox, the vixen, may at that time of year be more than tempted to take on a cat if she thinks her young are in danger. But I think the vast majority, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, foxes do occasionally take cats, but the vast majority of fox-attributed cat deaths are scavenged from the road from roadkill. So what happens, somebody sees the fox trotting down the road with a cat in its mouth, and they assume that the fox has killed the cat, but generally it's a roadkill.
Right, I see. Thank you very much indeed. Terry Woods from Foxagon, a non-lethal fox management company. Well, I mean, if it is the case that it is not a fox that's the Croydon cat killer, how terrible. Because ultimately, what does that mean? It means a sick, twisted, evil person who has killed people's pets is still on the loose.